Hello everyone, and welcome to an incredible, magnificent stream. A stream filled with vacuum cleaners, with dust. Not just kidding, it's a stream about video games. Come on, everyone does this stream. Come on, we're not the first ones, we're not going to be the last ones. With me today, we have the Sucky Sucky Quack Quack 3000. Us.
I was gonna say, is that me or I guess I'm that what you just said.
Sucky Sucky Quack Quack 3000. It's
Makes sense.
I don't make the rules.
It's true. I just wanted to make sure you were talking about me. I was like, I feel like that in my soul that's me, but I didn't know.
Yeah, and we have the I Love You 9000. It's not even a vacuum. I'm improvising. I don't know if you guys can tell. Raven, hi.
Hello.
I'm anyway improvising because I totally had a problem. My dog is scratching my dog. This is going on. Okay, so I'm sorry for this, boys. Today, going to do this again. Today, we have a very special program for you guys. We have two main pieces of news to talk about.
Oh no!
What?
I'm frozen in time again, aren't I?
No, you're not.
I'm back. I don't know where I went.
You was not frozen.
You were not frozen.
You guys were.
Hello. Well, but you were not. That's what matters. Let me just put this here so that my dog doesn't eat that. We have two very big pieces of news, and then we have a not so big but still worth talking about piece of news. But the main topic is very obviously going to be the PlayStation State of Play that we had this past Wednesday. And obviously, of course, combining with that, we're also going to be having to talk about the Unreal Engine 5, his possibilities for the bright future that it does have, and everything in between. Now, let's start with the smallest piece of news. Raven, take it away.
Alrighty then, as the title will imply, Ubisoft sues Google and Apple over a Rainbow Six Siege clone. Apparently, Ubisoft isn't happy about a game called Area F2, a free-to-play shooter game that is on the Google Play Store as well as the Apple Play Store, as it appears to be a very clear, almost carbon copy game of Rainbow Six. If you go and look up on Google and that, you can see from their photos and clips, it looks like they've literally copy and paste the menu, the loadout menu,
First of all,
the scoring system, and just reorganized it very slightly, and then tried to make a game out of it.
First of all, what's the name of the Chinese copy of it?
I did say Area F2.
Oh, okay, that's the name.
It's literally called Area F2.
Yeah. It's completely a different game. It's not Area 51. It's 52.
It's 52. Hey, come on, get your facts straight, everyone. Get your facts straight. No.
Hey, listen.
We resemble, but are legally distinct from.
But yeah, reported by Bloomberg, which is a media company, a complaint filed in a federal court in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
L.A.
Los
say LA.
Easier. On Friday, Ubisoft calls Area F2 a near-carbon copy of Rainbow Six. Ubisoft claims that the various aspects of the game is copied, like I said, from the screen selections to the final scoring and everything in between. And like I said, even from seeing the pictures, it does look like it. But unfortunately, it's been made in China, and due to copyright laws in China, Ubisoft is finding it easier to go after Google and Apple with the claims rather than go to the person who made the game. Hence why they're suing Google and Apple, because they're displaying the game and trying to, well, obviously sell it and try to piggyback onto the famous Rainbow Siege franchise. and Ubisoft ain't having any of it.
Rainbow Six. You said Rainbow Siege.
Rainbow Siege, Rainbow Six Siege.
And you're both wrong. The Tom Clancy's franchise, not the. It's not the Rainbow.
Whatever way you want to say the game, boom, there it is.
Okay. First of all, first things first. A couple of questions for you, Raven, since you're the guy with the news. Do we have any details on the overall values that they're looking for? Do you have any details about the case altogether? I must confess I haven't read the news.
Not from what I have found entirely at the moment. Like I said, it's basically just Ubisoft putting in a federal complaint to the federal courts of LA. Like I said, there's no massive specifics of it quite yet, other than they're claiming that it's very much a carbon copy from from how they've built the game.
Because this strikes a very interesting conversation. How original does a game have to be, gentlemen, to not be considered a carbon copy? Because, for example, you can play a game like Dark Souls, right? And then you can play a game like Lords of the Fallen, which sucks, but, they both have...
So good. Yeah. I don't need hit detection.
But there's games where they come on the same style, like Lords of the Fallen, where it's a very Dark Souls style of game, and then there's almost copying completely everything of mechanics down to screen layouts and that.
I have a word. I've said it before, like before we said it at the podcast, and I'll say it again. It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope to start dealing with that. Bootlegs are going, like, I honestly don't have much of a problem with bootlegs. I find them hilarious. And really, you're not losing that many people that wouldn't have just played Rainbow Six Siege.
But it's just the fact that they're trying to piggyback and make money off their
right.
franchise.
But that exists everywhere. That's how genres are made.
Yes, but it's also one of franchise that Ubisoft hasn't quite completely ruined, and is one of their main sources probably for money at the moment.
Steady crew, goddammit, Joe, you're goddamn right. Sorry.
Start
go on then.
I remember. Not I remember. I watched the video yesterday. That's very curious and has a lot to do with this. Television's going off on the left. The video was about a company that in 1995 developed a software called Double Your RAM. You love doubling your RAM through software, don't you? Come on. We all know it's impossible. We all know that you literally cannot do that unless you put another stick of RAM in your PC. But there was a company that back a good few years ago tried doing that for Windows 95. All it did was it came with a little floppy disk. You inserted the floppy disk on the Windows 95, and it gave you a splash screen saying that you had twice as much RAM. That's completely illegal nowadays. But back then, the way they had to circumvent about that was that they created a company called Microsoft Studios, not just Microsoft. And because they did that, they got away legally, doing a loophole that did all those things, that allowed the system to be sold, allowed the little software thing to be sold. My point here is, things like that have been existing for years. Either carbon copies of something or just lay down bootlegs. But normally, bootlegs don't really affect everyone. But here's my argument to you, Oz. Sometimes they really do. Because a guy that doesn't understand video games might be looking at a Chinese copy of Rainbow Six, for example, and saying, hey, this is Rainbow Six. Grandma, please buy me this. And they get home and they realize it's not Rainbow Six, right? Because a game like Rainbow Six is really hard to copy, but there's probably a lot of Chinese copies that have exactly the same name. You see, and that can actually tarnish the Ubisoft brand.
Right, but you see, there's a difference between what you are stating and what is happening here. Because in both of those cases that you placed, those are that's false advertising. They can't, like, the game could pretty much be Rainbow Six Siege, but it's not called that. It's called Area 52. Legally speaking, as long as it's not the exact same code, the exact same, like, they literally took the same thing, like they just took a file of Rainbow Six Siege and put it on the iPhone.
Your mic is going static a little bit. It's not my microphone, child. I can hear the static too.
Cool. I turned it down. That should help.
Yeah.
Where was I? I was just
File.
I say that this is a slippery slope, because if there is not necessarily that this case even isn't like a case that is true. It's just all courts need is precedence. And if they say, well, in this game, like, imagine if like Nintendo's like, well, you see, in this one, we can't. There's no such thing as platformers. They're all Mario games, or something like that. Now it's a harder thing to think, but like a lot of platformers copy Mario.
Yes, keep talking. I'm looking for specific publicity on my phone on Instagram that I saw a couple of days ago. Yeah. Keep talking.
But my thing is that it seems from what I have seen and what I've read from this specific piece of headline, if I copied Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and put a green suit or blue full suit tunic and then named it something slightly different, that's still me copywriting, because I'm using using their artwork, their copyright artwork, effectively. Even if I've moved it or changed the colors, they have every right to get my ass for that. And as a game developer, you need to do your research. Even if it is
right. But again, there is a difference between literally taking the code and copying the code. Like literally sitting there being like, oh, this looks like it, but spending the time making something that looks like it, then just literally taking it and putting someone with a green tune. But
the thing is, it's not just code that is copyrighted.
But for example, we are okay with non-officially licensed products, and we revolt ourselves because Nintendo does that. You know, all of us get really mad at Nintendo because we see a good game in Super Mario as in first-person mode, for example, and Nintendo copyright strikes that down. What's the difference between Nintendo copyright striking that down and Ubisoft striking or trying to strike this company down, boys?
Because saying that you're making a first-person Mario game assumes that you are using Mario. That is an intellectual property. They cannot own the genre of. It's the same thing with Fortnite and PUBG. You cannot own genre, but you can own intellectual property.
I get that, but my point is, what's the difference between us being okay with people using Mario and other, like, for example, Super Mario 64 on Unreal Engine, and us not being okay with this Chinese company trying to use Rainbow Six assets?
All right, let me put it this way. If I took the Indiehub logo, swapped the colors around, and swapped the two logos around and called it Hub something, and I've effectively using your artwork and basically copying what the channel is, that's copywriting.
Yeah, but
right, but is Area 52 taking the asset?
If you've seen,
I've looked at the picture, but are they strictly assets from there? You cannot own the rights to modern shooter or a terrorist or a SWAT team member.
I understand,
but you can have.
I understand that you can't own the genre and that, but you can, if you've made the game that basically has the same design, exactly the same layout almost, and
But is it the exact same assets? If they make their own assets, it technically is something different in terms of copyright law. It is absolutely a blatant copy, but it is not. But it is not breaking copyright law.
I was gonna get there.
Confirmed that despite being notified of copyright infringement, Apple and Google both refused to remove Area 50 or Area F2 from their app stores,
as they should refuse.
Let me see if I can find it on my phone.
Sure. I'll look it up right now too.
King brings up a good point. The reason why people defend those Super Mario knockoffs is because those properties are not being monetized, and the Chinese game is most likely going to be monetized. I think that's a good...
like I said before, the
monetization
Chinese
does not affect copyright law.
Laws are different. Hence why Ubisoft are not going after the people who've made the game, but the people that are trying to sell the game.
Oh, it
which
still
is
exists.
Apple and Google.
It still exists. Hold on, let me do this.
Okay, so there
are
multiple
going after
things.
the developers of the game. They're going after the people trying to the storefronts of the game.
Let me see.
Well, first of all, Rainbow is Rainbow Six? Yeah, it's right there. I'm downloading it right now.
He's downloading it right now.
Yeah, you can see. You can see it, but through here I can see exactly, and I mean exactly, Montaigne, which is a copy and paste of the actual Montaigne, with maybe a little bit of a different helmet. You can see Jackal there.
Listen, they've copied a lot. They basically carbon copied a lot of assets.
Oh, that's literally one of the maps from Rainbow Six.
And they're trying to play it off as their own.
The UI
which
is
is
literally
clear
the same.
intellectually theft.
But here's the thing. Yes, it does, and at the same time, it doesn't. Like Oz says, I don't think it really has that much to do with monetization or not, but it has a little bit more can get to do with how much are you actively hurting the reputation of said IP address. I think that's mostly about it, because if you do a bad job at designing a video game, people that don't really understand about video games and happen to stumble upon Super Mario in first person that just wipes out the skeletons of the little mushroom guys, maybe that's the first idea that people have about Super Mario, and that can actively hurt the brand. But I think money still does have something around it. I think it does. I think companies
it's effectively Apple and Google trying to piggyback off Rainbow Six Siege and try and make money off it. Because hence why Ubisoft is extremely not happy about it.
This is not the first time an intellectual property has been stolen on the App Store. There's countless Dragon Ball games. That have not been officialized by the people responsible, Bandai Namco. There you go. And there's countless games about Disney princesses, those princess dresses, games, etc., etc. I think the main point to take away from this entire shtick is there needs to be more accountability both on Apple and on Google Play, in my opinion, to house intellectual properties like that. I don't think it should be as easy as that. If a guy like me wants to post a literal game about a white screen, and if you touch the white screen, it moves a little bit, I can do so, and I don't think it should be that easy. Anyone has anything to add about that?
I mean, there's a lot of junk on the phone game store, and I would love it if there were better games on there, but I don't think, unless it's like producing viruses, it's not really illegal.
Here's the thing. Even if it's producing viruses, technically, it's legal. It depends.
Right.
It depends on your definition of virus. For example, they can design a software to literally read your entire phone number, your records on your phone, the text messages.
Welcome to the United States. That's a normal occurrence on apps.
But like they can do that because Google Play and what's it called? And Apple Store, they both allow that, and they shouldn't.
Right. Okay. So again, I have to say, with this whole lawsuit, to boil it down, what are they suing Google and Apple for? What is their main problem with this game?
Hold on, I've lost the fucking section.
Is it it's literally
it's basically copied down from the the scoring system and how they finish the scoring system. The operators themselves, which is almost a clear copy, and pretty much that the generalization of the menus.
If Ubisoft can somehow prove that this game, that's like Java is saying over here, is acting on the border of being legal or not, actively hurted the sales of Rainbow Six itself, they might have a case, because they can then take that and say, listen, this is basically.
But this is how it's actually very difficult, because you have to be able to legally say, how does a phone game hurt the sales of a console game? It's not on the Rainbow Six Siege is not on the phone.
No, but other Ubisoft properties are, and
but how does that hurt it?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Copyright law is actually really complicated, and I say that it's better to go on the side of caution, because it's a very slippery slope. Yeah, because then they can argue.
The quote that Ubisoft has sent is, Ubisoft and our teams have poured years of talent, creative resources into making Rainbow Six Siege the success that it is today. While we are not able to comment on pending legitimacy, we can confirm that Ubisoft is committed to protecting its intellectual properties.
Right. So they have to. So in this case, they have to prove that Area 52 is the exact same game.
All right.
Because they can't say it's the same genre.
From the operator's selection screen to the final scoring screen, everything in between.
Okay, but can you actually say that menu that they have, they are the first ones that made it? No one else has a menu that looks like that one.
Not that I've ever seen. I've only ever seen this style, this coloration, and borderline almost the names as well.
I don't think I've ever seen any UI close to
Rainbow Siege itself.
Yeah.
In my personal gaming history and experience.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, they have to basically have a copyright of the menus to say
that's the thing. That's what I mean when I meant about also they don't just have a copyright on the code. Everything down to artwork of the menus and that is all copyrighted. The entire game is copyrighted. You take Monty Gang and take a few operators and put them to another game, and it's a carbon copy of
I don't know what
them.
you're showing me a picture of.
That's very helpful, KJ.
Yeah, you can
2 a.m.
No, like the.
You scroll in a screenshot. Yeah.
Yeah, even the little individual.
So even when you're in game and you'll have the team sections, like team there, and time there, is almost it is exactly the same.
Yeah.
But is that a tool of the genre, or is that a tool of?
I've only ever seen
no.
that.
Yeah, I am arguing the case.
They might have. They might have a
style.
They might have
very Rainbow Siege.
A copyright on that
Specific
style.
to agency.
Because I've never seen
you cannot have a copyright on a genre.
Not the genre, the style.
Yeah.
On how they've laid it out, the size, the colorings,
I think it's going to go the same route as the Overwatch clones when Overwatch was huge, and then there were Overwatch clones on the phone.
Blizzard,
and Blizzard sued, and it didn't go well.
Well, it did go for some of them.
Yeah.
In the cases that Blizzard really proved that they could, and they did steal from most of Overwatch's side. Yeah, they got to probably millions because of this. Maybe they lost a couple of lawsuits here and there, but out of like 10 lawsuits, they probably lost 7. They probably lost 3. So, at the end of the day, Blizzard just had a lot to gain with this. Oh, moving on to the next topic.
Yeah,
I think we're at this point we're just talking about the same things over and over again. Stick it away.
Cool. So my bit of news is the tech demo for Unreal Engine 5 on the PlayStation 5. It looks amazing. They dropped it a couple days ago, right before the PlayStation State of Play, which even didn't have any Unreal 5. But still, the tech demo looks great. Character models don't look that much more advanced, but again, there's going to be diminishing returns until the next really huge breakthrough. But the environments, the lighting, the fact that the statue was really, really detailed, and that flying section all being very seamless is a lot of good signs for upcoming games.
Okay, so a few details, more specific details about the Unreal Engine 5. First of all, my opinion is incredible. I think everyone can agree here. It was absolutely phenomenal. It legit looks like a big step forward instead of a small step, like we usually have with some iterations of game engines. But a few details here and there. So for the very first detail, there's a lot of misconception on the lighting of that was used here. A lot of people say that they were using ray tracing. That is a complete lie. There is no ray tracing whatsoever being utilized on this specific tech demo. Just clarifying some things, even though it looks like it, which I
it's a dynamic lighting system.
Yeah.
So
it's ambient
but it
occlusion.
isn't ray tracing.
And it's global illumination and ambient occlusion. And to their credit, if people say that this is ray tracing, they did something really good here. I think we can all agree here that what was accomplished in this specific set piece was absolutely phenomenal. Because if people are saying that it's ray tracing, it's for a reason. However, ray tracing wasn't used here, but this could mean something very big for ray tracing itself. Right now, I believe ray tracing has 2 very big limitations, which number 1 is not every single game engine can incorporate ray tracing very well, and number 2, it's very heavy on your machine. But sometimes it's very heavy on your machine because of the engine itself. By having Unreal Engine 5, which is a engine that holds a lot of more polygons, that does surface scattering much greater, that does directly imports from what people use in movies just directly into video games, etc., etc., etc. We'll get there. It can improve on the overall performance impact that ray tracing usually gives. First of all, so first things first, global illumination. Anyone just about this, boys?
About global
about the global illumination on Unreal Engine 5.
From the tech demo, it does look fucking gorgeous as all hell. But as we know, tech demos are famous for showing what can be done, and then developers giving us something that doesn't quite work.
Well, prior tech demos of the Unreal Engine have shown that it takes a while. It's the amount of time until game developers actually create something that's like their tech demos is getting shorter and shorter with each new thing, because they're making the engines more streamlined and easier to use for a lot of different people. That being said, it's the first games that are going to be created with this are probably not going to look that nice. They'll probably have really nice parts of that. But again, this is a tech demo where literally only that was created, so they never had to create a larger environment or a larger game with that. hopefully this turns into a game, but no other tech demo has, so.
No, I don't think it needs to be turned into a game.
I don't know. I was interested. I wanted to play that game almost.
I mean,
Well, that demo.
Besides showing pretty stuff, there was no combat. The exploration was next to none. It was just, hey, look at that pretty good thing. Hey, look at that illumination. Oh, there's scarabs running from you there. You know, besides that, there was literally no gameplay whatsoever. And that's kind of what a tech demo is. Another point of criticism that Oz pointed out is the main character itself. Every time there's a new engine, and every time there's new iteration of said engine, people just forget about the main character you're playing. I don't know what's up with that, but like we haven't
everyone tries to go for photorealism, and I love it, don't get me wrong, but I find stylization makes games look better, because when you go for photorealistic, it dates it real hard, because what looks, I was playing a game earlier that at the time it was made was like, oh, this is super realistic, but I'm playing it now, I'm like, that looks really bad.
Okay. And then you got games like Wind Waker,
which holds up.
It still holds up today. Even remastered, fucking holds up.
But you can strive for photorealism and mix...
Right, but with like character models, it becomes really hard. Human beings are like really hard to make like the dynamic movements that we have are hard to emulate in a game. Still,
this was nearly a Tomb Raider expansion.
Hooray!
I wish. No, it wasn't, because I don't know. First of all, the main character on the specific tech demo looked about as. How do I put this into words, King Ed?
I don't know. We're waiting.
It looks bland. It
looks like we gotta put our template character in, just like know.
It literally looks like that. It looks like a template character, exactly as
literally you clicked it and goes main character template. Okay, so
just put this there. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's no one will notice. And besides that, another very simple criticism that people are giving, like Raven is saying here, is it's a tech demo. It's not going to be reflective of what you're going to see from Unreal 5 games. And to that, I have to say, yes, because...
But, that was the point?
Yeah, because it really depends on the artists. If
the
artist utilizes...
Sometimes I feel it gives almost a false hope of what next-gen games will be and looking like. And then people expect it to almost be the same as the tech demo. Not saying it can't be, but I'm just saying sometimes it just doesn't
here's the thing. I find tech demos specifically for the Unreal Engine are less of look at this cool game and more of look at these new features we have. We have
exactly
like the dynamic rocks falling and stuff like that, and the individual the texture on that cliff was really nice.
Yes, it does, Jalva. AMD does support ray tracing.
Yes,
and everyone can utilize ray tracing. Even graphics, even 1080 graphics can utilize ray tracing. Ray tracing is easier on a NVIDIA graphics card, but doesn't mean it can't be used on other graphics cards.
Right.
It just probably gets utilized better on certain cards more than others.
Right, and I think the Unreal Engine 5 with the global lighting is actually, just to bring it back, what's great about that is that allows that type of lighting performance without the need of ray tracing hardware.
Yeah, and one point that a lot of people forget about is this was shown on a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Theoretically, this is kind of the first look at what the possibility of graphics on the PlayStation 5 are. But let's be honest here. The AMD guys came out and said what was shown on that specific tech demo can be very easily utilized in today's graphics cards and in today's computers soon. So meaning that we're not even that far away from having these graphics as of right now. Because if we are to believe on what the Epic and the AMD guys said, this is being run on a normal PC, on my PC, on Raven's
Right.
PC.
I believe the PlayStation 5 is using a customized modified AMD card, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yeah. So that does make sense that AMD would come out and be like, "Hey, so this is a thing we can actually do now," which is good on multiple things. Meaning, I would love it if consoles and PCs could just like intersect and all look great.
That's why. That's why I'm really excited for Xbox Series X, because it looks like they're trying to close the gap between PC and consoles closer and closer together, while Sony is up there.
Honestly, what's the point of getting a console? Just get a goddamn PC.
My God.
Money.
You have the panda argument, Raven. God damn it.
I don't care. I don't think if you're going to have a console, have a console.
It's not that.
But don't try and start merging it with a PC just because you're Microsoft.
All right.
I know the argument, but it's just how I think and how I feel.
I'm PC Master Race.
PC Master Race.
I'm PC Master Race. I am PC Master Race too.
I just like games.
I do. I love games.
Here's
I love my console. You can see I love my console. Well, I'm not gonna fucking have them merge. I don't care.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying that your console becomes a PC. I just mean the type of games that you can have on your console can perform as well as it can on PC. That is great. That is a net positive.
Not everyone has $800 to $900 to spare to play at 60 or 30 frames big boy games right off the bat. You might be a 15-year-old kid that's trying to get into gaming, and you might not have that money right off the bat. So what do? You ask your parents.
Save up £200 more. Yeah!
Raven! How do you make money when 15 years old? You're 15 years old. You're a
like every other fucking kid at 15.
Alright, so like it's easier and more reasonable for a kid like for their birthday or for Christmas to be like, hey, can I have this console? As opposed to, can I have this one computer part that costs the same?
Yeah, exactly.
By the time I'm 30, I might have a full PC.
Yeah. So that's why and not only that, because PC is not the only platform in which video games. I had this conversation on Java stream yesterday, because PC is not the only platform. Microsoft and Steam are not the only platform striving here. There's always a way to find the next generation of video games. There's always a thrive to find to innovate and to find cool and new ways to play video games. Do you really think if PC was the only platform, we would have a goddamn portable PC or a virtual reality headset?
I'm not saying that PC should be the only thing that can do gaming. I'm just saying you should try mixing them too. Right. Yes, one can perform better than the other. And I'm not saying that consoles should stay low end and, and not do as well as PC. But I just don't believe that they both should be merged together.
Why? When I say they...
Because if you're going to make a fucking Xbox X, XX, Triple X down the line to do basically everything a PC can...
You can pre-order at Pornhub.
Then you may as well just get a fucking PC that can already do everything.
Yeah, but the idea is the cost in which you can play a video game, right? And not only that, what's wrong with an Xbox striving to look a bit more like a PC? Being able
because Microsoft already owns PCs.
Because when people say that, Raven, they're talking about the idea of
Microsoft
very
is trying
easily
to get
taking
people
out...
to buy more PCs.
Yes.
Thank you, Oz.
No, when people say they look closer to a PC, is the idea of very easily taking out, for example, a hard drive and replacing it for another one without causing problems. Or the idea of the processor being kind of the same as the processor from a PC, or the idea that if you buy a goddamn video game at $70, you can play it on a PC and on the Xbox, because it's supposed to be the same platform. That's why people want a console to be as close to a PC as possible. It doesn't mean I don't want to give money to a specific company. By giving money to Sony, I'm not only giving it money towards the next generation of consoles, possibly, but I'm also giving it to Naughty Dog to develop games and mistreat their
console. A console is a console!
I agree with Raven, as many people only use console as a stepping stone. It's very cheap and can run games pretty well. The only downside is that it's very limited with the games.
Jova, you can still make a PC on the cheap that still does well, as long as you build it to be balanced.
But it doesn't do.
But not everyone has the time, money, and skills to do that. And as such, they want to have something that is cheap and also performs like a computer.
And Raven, you're forgetting that when you buy a PC, for example, you buy a 1060, let's say. 1060 was a really, really good graphics card for 5 years ago. Right now, a 1060, it barely runs games on medium. At least we're talking AAA games. But when you buy a PlayStation 4, and if that lifespan of the PlayStation 4 lasts like 7 to 8 years, you're guaranteed that every game you buy can play said games. Can legit play said games.
Yes, because they have to limit themselves to what the console can do.
Right, so that you don't have to buy a new console every year.
If you make them both the same, then consoles have to keep up with the progression that a PC can always do constantly, year after year. And you can't do that without updating a console constantly with the hardware needed that a PC can do when you have the money to do it.
Raven.
No.
Raven.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to calm down.
Raven. Why
am I the guy?
And why should that be the consumer's problem? That's not a consumer's problem, Raven.
Because that's the same problem as what phone do I want to buy for what reason?
That's a normal limitation. You can say the same about Marvel movies. Of course, they don't strive for even more perfection, for even more special effects. I'm pretty sure if Marvel,
the Unreal Engine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if Marvel literally wanted to slap you on their movies for real, if they had that possibility, they would. But the cinema right now doesn't really allow for that to happen. My point is, in a consumer standpoint, it makes a hell of a lot more sense.
Marvel are the people that are pushing boundaries to make things better.
Yeah,
DC, consoles are trying to catch up.
But baby steps.
You can't have them both be together.
But baby steps.
One will always be better than the other.
Raven. That's why there's a life cycle between generations of consoles, right? So that you need to upgrade. That happens a hell of a lot more frequently.
Consoles cannot keep up with a PC.
But it doesn't need to.
Can a generation of consoles keep up with the progression of a PC?
Here's the best.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
No.
There you go!
No.
And it won't stay like that because it doesn't matter if you keep consoles and PCs together in one as the same.
But it doesn't need to.
If I can pull out a part of my PC and replace it the next day with something that can do better than a console, then a console will always be a console that is for that generation and can't go any further. So I can't just go over it, pull something out of the console, and replace it with something better.
I'm pretty sure this is one of the most sicked out consoles out there, Raven. And
the best you can do is put in more memory.
This right now, this piece of hardware over here, is barely a PlayStation 3, let alone a PlayStation 4 or even a PC Master Race. I'm pretty sure I can set literally my motherboard against this entire console, and my motherboard would probably be like, I think I'm winning a little bit here. Here's the thing. This has the best indie games and the best games to play right now. Luigi Dimension 3. I just had the demo over here installed. I had the time of my life. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. It looks like a dream. Breath of the Wild. Absolutely incredible and one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. On a piece of hardware.
No,
like
I don't know, Joe. I don't know.
My biggest point here is, yes, there is limitations, but there's also limitations on PC, Raven. There's limitations everywhere, and what Unreal Engine 5 is doing right now.
PC pushing.
What Unreal Engine 5 is not a PC only thing. Again, what we just saw.
PC only thing.
Yeah. But what we just saw is striving for technology, striving for that little niche you're talking about, and pushing it closer and closer to one specific goal: evolution in all sides. That's it.
Yes, but one will always be further than the other until the other catches up to the current point.
But when you develop, okay, here's something.
In terms of performance, maybe, but not an actual game.
Yes. And the perfect transition is this. I have the perfect example for you. Ghost of Tsushima is being set on a PlayStation 4. Mm-hmm. All of the gameplay we saw was on the PlayStation 4. For those of you that don't know, this Wednesday at 9 p.m. London time, we had a little state of play from Sony. And the state of play was all about showing around 20-ish minutes. I think it was 18.
Yeah, it was 18.
It was 18, right? Around 18 minutes of pure Ghost of Tsushima gameplay. Now, I'm a big fan of Sekiro. I don't know about you guys. Are you fans
big
of
fan.
Sekiro?
Still haven't completed it, but big fan.
Of what, sorry?
Sekiro.
Oh yeah, beating it. It's good, real good.
It's real good.
So close.
And at least for me, the big part of me being a big fan of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is because Sekiro implemented the setting of feudal Japan and created the expectation of maybe in the future we would be getting a samurai style game set in feudal Japan with actual samurai rules, and Ghost of Tsushima is setting out to be exactly that. Now, at least from what I saw from the presentation, you guys can give your opinions here. They're trying to be Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild plus Far Cry plus Batman Arkham City on the combat in specific.
I don't think that's a fair comparison.
I think it's going to be one of the first, not quite the first of its kind.
No, that's not what exactly I mean. I'm just saying, saying that it's like Breath of the Wild is kind of... Breath of the Wild is an open world RPG, and I think it's also an open world RPG-ish game based off of Gear, and I don't think that's necessarily saying it's copying it.
It's like saying open world RPGs are the same.
Do I think it's taking the best points of those types of games?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a reason why people say that. They're saying it looks like Breath of the Wild because of the open worlds, go exactly where you're going, where you want style gameplay. Because Breath of the Wild doesn't necessarily say you really need to explore this place at this exact moment. It's just like, do whatever you want. You have this goal.
You want to go fight Ganon now? You'll lose, but you can.
Yeah, just go ahead and do it. The open worldness like we've never seen before, mixed with Far Cry, with the idea of you can do stealth, or you can do big boy run and gun, and
I'm
have
literally
a lot of
only
camps.
going to just yell at everyone and have them fight me.
Yeah.
I will never use stealth. I'm
Yeah,
like,
me
who
too.
needs stealth when you can win?
Yeah.
The Jiren path. Exploiting weaknesses is not true strength.
And the settlements and camps from Far Cry also seem to be implemented there. What was the third? The Batman game was meant as in the combat style. It kind of looked like that one button prompt. Where
I really hope it's not. I really hope it's not.
You're having this and you have to block, and with one button he already does all those crazy moves, and then you can attack. I think that specific combat style needs to be improved. I think that's the best way to say it.
I think we were seeing someone at max stats. I don't think it'll be that easy, but at the same time, it might be like that's someone that's like practiced this one particular section a million times.
We need it to be explained more, I think.
Because Sekiro, when we first saw Sekiro, we all thought was really easy, and then we started playing Sekiro, like, oh, that timing's just awful.
Let's go on a few points first. Let's focus on those points first instead of just throwing random ideas here. First of all, as the game implied, we had a sort of a pan look at what the world is roughly going to be. What do you guys think?
Fucking beautiful.
Looks nice.
Looks nice. Okay.
Honestly, I am skeptical of open worlds.
I think I'm more skeptical of what they're trying to go for. There's a lot of games that are trying to go for that exact same feel, and quite a few of them being a letdown.
Go ahead, sorry.
A lot of them being a bit of a letdown. The only other thing that's coming close to this kind of open world almost freedom would be Cyberpunk, and that's not out yet. And even with that game, I'm still very cautious.
Okay, so what do you guys, as the games you played right now, what is the number one game that does open world right?
For me, it's Breath of the Wild. I know, like, the reason behind that is that I find when I'm playing an open world game, there's a mix of me wanting to be like, all right, I want to go to the next story objective, but I actually want to do all the side stuff, and everything does not, like, I get really enwrapped in stories, but the stories can take us, like, you have those cognitive dissonant moments when it's just like, I can't believe you would kill that man, and then you are literally cutting to you driving over people in the streets. But that being said, what makes Breath of the Wild so fun is that it's like all options are right options. So, like, if you want to go do the shrines, do the shrines. If you want to do the Sacred Beast, do the Sacred Beast. If you want to try and fucking stealth into the final boss and try to win, and then do win, go for it. Like, any game that lets me do what I want to do without making me feel like, but you should be doing this right now.
Okay, all right. Before you speak, Raven, let me say I disagree with Witcher 3, because there's a big difference between an open world for the purposes of just being open and doesn't really influence the gameplay that much, and an open world that feels alive. Witcher has an open world that feels alive, but if you divided the game into kind of you need to go here and here with barriers, you wouldn't really feel the difference that much. Yes, side quests would be lost, but in all reality, NPCs always do exactly the same. The cities look very alive and stuff like that, but they always have the same paths.
Witcher 3 was my second choice, so
in all fairness, when it comes to Witcher, open world, just generally, in a general term for me, is being the ability to explore pretty much the entire world without barriers. Yes, there might be load screens when it comes to certain sections of The Witcher, but in general, you can go anywhere you want without the story progressing.
Does it influence the story in a better
linear
option?
Story is different between an open world.
Okay.
A linear story is a linear story, but an open world is an open world. Witcher, you can go to the highest level zone you want.
Okay, for me...
So effectively, to me, it's an open world.
Yeah. But
it just has a bit of a linear story, unlike Breath of the Wild, where there isn't a linear story because you are the story. because it's not built with a story.
I think
per se,
Witcher 3 is my second favorite game of all time, but it's still. I think they should have implemented the open. There's a difference between an open world looking good and feeling alive, and I think the feeling in life portion on The Witcher 3 open world is what's missing here, because yes, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of packed layers and layers of stuff, but does that stuff really contribute? For example, if you kill an entire camp in an actual story quest, can you go back to that camp? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, and sometimes the decisions you make within the game itself don't really necessarily translate to the actual open worldness. And again, I'm saying this as a negative to Witcher 3, but I really absolutely love Witcher 3.
But what can you do in Breath of the Wild that openly affects the
everything
open world?
That's a mechanic.
Because you can kill a camp, but as soon as there's a blood moon, every camp respawns.
Yes, but the story is the story you create within that open world. Okay, so picture this, right? Let's say you're in a bus, right? And you're transporting something. There's a table there. To Witcher, the bus and the table are two separate entities. There's the story and there's the open world. And when it comes to Breath of the Wild, the bus and the engine are the Breath of the Wild. I'm having really a lot of difficulty explaining this, but like without the open world aspect of Witcher 3, you can still tell the story of Witcher 3. But without the open world of Zelda, you can't do anything, because the stories you tell come as a result of the open world. You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but to answer your question of what can you do that affects the story, for instance, you can go to the sacred beasts, and each one that you complete, it takes an eighth off of Ganon's health. This is not a spoiler; it's a game, and oh no, you fight Ganon in Zelda.
No, what?
It's like
You bastard!
It's like fighting Bowser in any Mario game.
Considering what is being set up for Breath of the Wild 2, that might be a little bit of a spoiler potentially.
It's Ganon. Oh no, we all know.
Is it really?
It could not be Ganon, but it's Ganon.
It doesn't.
It's not Ganon as we know him.
My point is, I think the ideal open world for me is Red Dead Redemption 2.
I haven't played that much of it, but
for me, Red Dead Redemption 2 is the ideal open world frenetic action, because every main story action you do, if you come back to it, it's changed if it's set on a specific location. The camp and the characters you play with, if they get killed in a cutscene, you can't ever see them in game. But if you really look for before that said cutscene or before that said gameplay, you can actually see them just roaming around. The actions you take usually translates to the action you see, and the open world feels as a way to complement the story instead of being an addition to a story. You know what I mean?
I mean, yes. I understand what you're saying. I think my favorite things about open worlds is I mean, at the end of the day, there's no such thing as a true open world game, because there will always be like story things to an objective. Like a true open world game is a true sandbox, and I guess the closest thing to that is Breath of the Wild for me. Most of the gameplay is fuck it, just go and do stuff. Sorry,
okay.
I've been cursing a lot.
So my question is, do you think this game is going to implement that? Or do you think it's going to be a bland open world?
I don't know. From what they have shown me, I do not know.
Okay.
I cannot come up with a full answer for that. And when if the open world is bland, then I'm hoping the main gameplay loop is fun, and that goes down to the combat. And I don't. The combat looks very cinematic, and that looks great, but I don't understand mechanically what's happening.
Raven.
I hope it's like when it comes to the word using it as a bland open world, it can be a bit thingy in my perspective. I rather not judge until I see more or have played it. Just because the world may look slightly empty does not mean it's going to be emptied. Yes, we see a lot of forests and a few settlements, but just because you see forests doesn't mean there's not things in the forest or potential things to happen there. But I hope it looks. I'd rather see more before saying anything more concrete. But I do think it looks like a good game. I agree with Oz. The fighting mechanics need to be sort of explained just a little bit more in another sort of teaser thing. But in a general thing, I think it looks like a good game.
Okay, next part, I believe it was the combat. They showed a little navigation system. They showed the wind stuff. They showed them a little bit of the map, and then they proceeded to go for the idea of the combat. And the combat is going to basically be all about the honor of the samurai. There's going to be two distinct paths you can take there. The dirty way, kind of. Like you have
got thingy, the rat, the lizard, there's something else, and
yeah. There's two there's two main paths and
that open into two more basically. Basically, the dishonest way and the honest way. The way of the samurai and basically the way of the ninja, from what it looks like. Because stealth for a samurai is considered something dirty. Because as a samurai you're supposed to do 1v1s, and it looks like it's gonna play a lot on the story perspective. I'm speculating over here, but I think the game itself is going to be all about choice, all about player choice, as in you want to be an honorable samurai, or you want to be a bitchy boy that likes Dishonored a bit too much. I think you're going to be able to choose that, and the combat style really reflects that. However, I'm gonna reflect this one first to Raven, because I think you kind of agree with me, Oz. What do you thought about the combat style in the samurai way, which was the first one displayed?
It to me it does look a little bit worrying.
Okay, so we all have the same opinion.
Like on how you've mentioned it earlier, KJ. It does look very much Arkham Knight and the whole Batman series, where it's just let me single push one button and have it do everything and everything. I really don't like that about the Dark Knight series, even if it is a fluid system, in my personal opinion. But again, it's something that they need to explain more and tell us about. But from what they've shown us, I'm a little worried. But hopefully they'll show us and just explain more, and then I can have a better feeling on it.
All right, Us.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling worried that it'll be too simplistic, but at the same time, it looked cool.
Yeah, I agree.
It almost reminded me of like the old Assassin's Creed gameplay, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like countering and insta killing a lot of things and like a lot of cool looking attacks. But then again, there might be since we didn't see like a controller or really a controller breakdown, we don't know everything that went into play with that. Now, maybe that's like a super high level play that you just mow down enemies, which if I'm at the end of the game and like max power, I'm going to want to mow down a whole bunch of like...
He doesn't love doing that.
Power. You earned that power, so it feels rewarding. Here's the thing. I personally love the Arkham Knight and basically the Arkham games combat system, because the trick is, on the very surface it looks super simplistic. It's basically all about a couple of button mashings that he does all those flashy stuff. But here's the thing, the game gets harder and harder. You're fighting like 5 guys, and then maybe on the next wave you're fighting 10 guys, and on the next wave you're fighting 10 guys and a guy that you need to go back to and hit from the back, or halfway through the game you have a guy that You can't dodge. You need to dodge roll. You have a guy with a shield. You have a guy that literally charges you like a bull, and it gets to be thicker and thicker as the game progresses. It starts basic and it ends.
Yes, but it doesn't mean the controls have to be simple. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice has a reasonably complex system, and you can do the same when you verse hundreds, or not hundreds, but quite a few people.
I would argue that Sekiro actually has a more simple button system than Arkham. But if I can, what makes Arkham style combats work is that each individual enemy is a simplistic thing that you know.
Yes.
And then together, hello motorcycles.
I love motorcycles.
There's like a whole crew of them. Each mechanic is simple, but together it becomes a complex test of, all right, I need to do this after this after this, and when you get it right, it looks great.
Yeah, exactly.
Each thing is like, it might be a thing with this game of each individual thing is simple, but that makes it so you can have a lot of people with each having their own different mechanics, just because you know which one goes to which.
Honestly, if you look on the most basic of standpoints, the Arkham combat is not only flashier, but way more enjoying when it comes to defeating singular enemies, because you see all those flashy movements, and on Dark Souls you literally press the same button to do exactly the same thing. The big difference is the difficulty and the overall feeling. Because on Sekiro or on Dark Souls games, it feels like a one-on-one duel with something really hard, and on the superhero movie, it feels flashy and feels like you're suplexing everyone all over the place. It's all about taste, Raven. But if you really look closely, the big difference between one combat style and the other is the difficulty, by far. The difficulty on each individual character. So I'm very skeptical, like Oz and Raven said too, when it comes to the game itself. I want to like it. I really want to like it, but it looked super easy. It looked about as easy as you can get when it comes to fighting a bunch of mobs, and that's not something you want from a samurai game. A samurai game is meant to be this incredible duel between one guy and the other, and if there's more than one guy, it's even harder. And
but I looked at the if you look at the first trailer that they showed with like the one-on-one duel, it looked like the one-on-one duels with characters are pretty intense, and that makes me think of like this is trying to be a samurai film with the basic mobs are easy, but then like characters become like a whole situation.
I think I could accept that better.
Yeah. Maybe we should play it like Death Stranding, more like a movie and less like a gameplay, right, Oz?
Say that without cutting out on your words.
If you're saying it should play like Death Stranding, no.
Oz loves Death Stranding. I don't know if you guys can see.
I do not love that. It is
a walking simulator.
I seem to be one of the very few people that really like it. Well, anyway,
I love the story. No, here's the thing. I love the story, but what the game is, I do not like.
Yes, that's also another thing, Panda. Maybe they make it look easy because they're not exactly focusing on the combat system, but more the sort of go on the animations.
I was going to talk about that next.
For that scene.
The animations when it comes to the swords being, for example,
looks fucking fluent as fuck. It looks beautiful.
When he shoots the arrow, the guy was just like. Psh.
Yeah, I'm actually watching it right now. So enemies have a health bar, and the character has this thing, like this bar of like yellow circles.
Yeah.
And it has like the L1 and L1 and R1. And it looks like that insta kills them, but takes out one of those yellow balls. Yep. So maybe it's a little bit like Sekiro, of like you build up execution points, like you build up to the like a stamina meter. It's just done differently. But we don't start. Kind of thing. But like but we don't start with all of those. We start with like one.
I think I'd be happy with that kind of system.
Yeah. The dead animations and the fluidity of the movement seemed incredible. Like the very slow pace of the guy walking with the weapon seemed exactly like a samurai would do when they reflected excuse me, when they reflected the arrow. It also looked incredible. Like it reflected the arrow behaved like someone who actually stuck a weapon to it. It just
that was crazy because I was watching it and like I saw him start drawing the bow. I'm like, are they gonna have him deflect arrows and make that look ridiculous? And the arrow not only did the arrow get deflected, but it moved at a speed that made me go, yeah, a person that's really good at sword fighting could probably deflect that. Because that's how arrows actually move.
And when he thrusted the samurai swords into someone, the guy behaved realistically. It was like, oh god damn it! I left something in the oven. So
I think it was more demonstrating the animations rather than your basic gameplay. And I think it did a good job at that. I am still concerned because I want to see how it plays for someone that isn't max level.
Or someone that doesn't understand the game that well.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's up for gameplay. Is there any other point?
I just want to say I don't like the stealth.
I don't know.
I love a bit of stealth.
I love a bit of stealth.
A bit of dirty play.
What I'm most upset about is that I liked the stealth outfits more.
Yeah.
Can I do stealth outfits and then just be a samurai?
Very true,
so I can look
true.
like a crazy anime character?
There was a point or two in that specific gameplay where the AI seemed really dumb. And if you do too smart of an AI, it's basically almost impossible to do stealth. But if you do dumb AI, it just becomes too easy. And I think it's a question of the second option, which there was a moment in time where the guy jumped at someone that was in a fireplace, and because the guy was here, right? He jumped from behind, he killed the guy, but because the other guy was looking slightly to the right, he didn't see him, and he was able to just throw a few kunais and kill him. That seemed super easy and really.
But again, was it like a stage thing? Like, did they practice it to make it look
scenes
cool?
You see are always going to be staged and played through and tested. Try to get the best of it.
Whether it's staged or not, the AI really is not going to change that much.
Again, we don't know until we play the game. I honestly am not a big fan of most stealth elements, and as long as the game never forces me to use stealth, I'm fine with it being. I
like the climbing though. I like the climbing. The climbing.
I mean, I'll climb and then yell at people from the top of the roof because I am a true warrior.
Hey! Fight me, cunts!
Get up here!
Get up here!
I'm now going to fight all of you!
Please, one at a time. I have time. Well, moving on. Next, I believe we have the customization elements. Boy, do games need to start doing something like this. I think it looks great. I honestly think it was great. Not only can you customize each individual piece is going to matter to your playstyle, and with an added extra layer, you can change the individual colors of pieces.
It's going to be hot pink, no matter what. Hot pink. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hot pink all the way in. If I could, I would change my mouse from this color to hot pink. I said it.
You got that's. I'm right with you. I think it's.
The only thing that I'm hoping for is that the style in which you play affect your reputation and the story, so you could play the game multiple times, taking multiple paths, and it does seem to be exactly like that. When you create a specific path style like you're trying to create, you don't just create it because you try to attenuate it with the story that you're trying to tell. For example, Dishonored, you mix your play style with the ending you're gonna get. If you're a good guy, you get a good ending. If you're a bad guy, you get a bad ending. And I think it's trying to encapsulate over here on this story. And speaking about story, I don't know. I must be too much of a big One Piece fanboy, but did you guys notice that the main character is Mr. Zoro for One Piece? I was so happy
Mate,
I mean, if you're going to pick someone to be the sword guy,
you pick the best anime swordsman out there.
You pick the best samurai. That's true.
If we don't have a moment,
3-sword style now.
If I can do 3-sword style, I will. I will put a sword in my mouth.
100%. Or do that as an Easter egg. I have one enemy that's
secret just... boss is Zoro.
Yeah. They don't not have an Easter egg of some kind of that. I'll be disappointed.
I'll be disappointed too. I'll be disappointed too. But
listen, if you need to do crunch time to put it in, do.
Give us some Easter eggs of it.
Oh fuck! Okay, well there it goes. Our option to be monetized.
Or you just find a coin named One Piece.
Yeah,
that'd be really good.
Something referencing.
Yeah, and you want to know the part that made me feel that I'm too much of a weep. The part is that the guy literally only grunted. Basically, it was like. Ugh. And then I think he said like a couple one word here or there, and I was like, "That's Zoro. Hey, don't fuck with me.
That's Zoro right there.
Don't fuck with me. That's Zoro." And then I actually did the research and bam. I think that's basically it, right? When it comes to the game itself.
I mean, graphic wise, it looked great.
We can also talk graphic wise.
You would expect that for late gen, so.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That's what I want to touch upon to tie up with the Unreal Engine 5. Because I saw the Unreal Engine 5 presentation after I saw Ghost of Tsushima. Oh, sorry. Fuck. I fucked up there.
You gone fucked up, laddie.
Basically, we saw Ghost of Tsushima in my stream, and then we proceeded to see the real tournament, the Unreal tech demo. So, like, graphics-wise, I'd say Ghost of Tsushima is almost as good as the tech demo I saw from an Unreal tournament, which is impressive as hell. I mean, the beautiful winds just going through the grass, rice fields really looking like feudal Japan rice fields. The armor sets looking really customizable and with a lot of detail on it. Everything looking exactly like I would say a feudal Japanese style game would look like. And I don't think I could ask for better graphic fidelity than what I'm receiving with this game. Your boys'
I'm looking at looking at the game. It looks great. Hello. Not like my brain is melting. Raven, you go first. As my brain.
Oh, I just told Joe to shut up.
Let me just do something real quick. You guys keep talking.
The game looks great. I'm not surprised that like late gen Unreal Engine 4 looks good. I mean, Final Fantasy 15, not 15, Final Fantasy 7 Remake looks amazing, and that's Unreal Engine 4. Like, Unreal Engine, I think what's going to be really big with Unreal Engine 5 is the tools, not necessarily the graphics, at least at first.
Yes.
If it makes it easier for game developers to properly make games, easier, it's not so much faster, but just smoother, then alright. But I'm going to wait and see how next-gen games are going to obviously come out and be. That is the only real test we've got.
Okay, so I think we have everything to be said. Final thoughts, Oz?
About Ghost of Tsushima?
Yes, Ghost of Tsushima, yes.
Sushi.
Ghost of Sushi.
Yum yum. I was kind of mixed about the game. I am now a little bit more excited about it. I still don't know if it's a game I would want to actually like play.
Interesting. Raven.
Think it's a beautiful game. It looks interesting. Gonna wait until I know more, until I watch some actual play of it.
Okay. My final thoughts are, I'm more excited, but I think I'm gonna play that game being a movie and not really being a game, if that makes any sense. That's more what I think about this game. Moving on to our closing segment. Gentlemen, let us proceed with the upcoming games. I don't like sushi, by the way.
I like some sushi.
Yeah.
No,
Depends on the quality of the sushi, I think. I like sushi. You never had sushi?
But of course, Jolve's gonna love sushi.
You never had sushi?
No, yeah, he's from California. That's like all they eat.
Is that the only reason?
You never ate sushi, Raven?
No, I've never eaten sushi.
It's good depending upon where you get it.
Heresy.
I like it with salmon.
Into this, you're a heretic.
Jalvai, this man never ate a kebab and never ate sushi. What are you doing?
Everyone knows what he likes, thank you.
We're changing the podcast to food that Raven doesn't eat.
What other stuff don't you eat though?
Shut up. No. Yeah.
So, first up on May 19th.
Let's go on the upcoming games. Yeah.
So first on May 19th on the Switch is Switch, PS4, and Xbox One is Golf with Your Friends. It's a game that's already been out on the PC for a while now. It's a online multiplayer simultaneous mini golf game where you can make your own courses. It's chaotic, but really fun and very funny.
Fun fact, I not only played that game on stream, but I had the key delivered to me for free.
You also had no friends after it. Because it's rage-inducing.
And I had the game developer watching my stream.
Yeah.
It was really fun. I had the opportunity to ask some questions to the game developer, and he was a really, really cool guy. Very chill about it. I asked him things like, what was your biggest challenge? Obviously coming up with all the crazy ideas that the game has. Really cool game. Go out and buy it, boys.
Oh, okay. I'm out it.
Give me money. Alright then, May 19th for the Switch, you have a Warhammer 40,000 Mechanus for the Switch. It's a turn-based tactical game where you've got to push back the evil Necrons with using the most advanced army in the Empyrean. Like any 40,000 Warhammer game, it's just going to be beautiful and turn-based. And in this case,
fun fact: if you like XCOM, you probably like this game too.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the wonderful 101, the remastered version. Now, this game officially came out on the Wii U. It was a Wii U exclusive for a while, and it's now being remastered on a Switch. The wonderful 101 is really hard to describe. You're basically not one character, but you're like a bunch of characters that can transform into a specific object you want them to transform, and it's kind of a beat-em-up style game.
It's an isometric beat-em-up.
It's an isometric beat-em-up, but then again, I'm doing a disservice just trying to explain to you what it is. You really should play it for yourself. It's a once-in-a-lifetime game. Just imagine Pikmin.
Yeah, it's kind of Pikmin, but with superheroes.
Yeah, it's Pikmin had sex with DC
with Beautiful Joe
and a threesome with Beautiful Joe. Exactly. It's
and Bayonetta. It's
weird.
A platinum game, right?
I believe it's a very twisted game.
It's a platinum game. Let me just fact check this.
Yeah, it's just a platinum game.
It got outsourced by Platinum. It was a Nintendo game, but it was like
I mean it was Nintendo, but Platinum made the gameplay, so you know it's going to be flashy and fast.
Go out and buy it. Okay, actually, don't go out and buy it because this
Digital
release is only targeted towards the US people.
USA.
Because the remastered, Raven's going to be talking about it. The remaster comes later on you. Oh, no. I will talk about it. Okay. All right. So it comes out on May 19th. This comes out This comes out on May 19 on US stores. and it only comes out on May 22nd on EU stores. This makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, because it's digital. They have to ship the digital package.
What?
Wait a minute.
It really makes no sense. Why? Like, this is so 2005.
Because fuck the police.
It doesn't make any sense. What the fuck? Well, it doesn't matter. Well, it comes out on May 19 on US for PC, PS4, and Switch. Go buy it.
Cool. So next up we have the Crucible. Not a play about, witches and secretly about the Red Scare, but in fact a fast-paced, free-to-play, team-based action game. It's 8 teams of 2 on a map with only 1 life, and then they have missions depending. And it's there's 8 different hunters you can pick from. It looks fun. It looks interesting. That's coming out May 20th on PC.
Yes.
I believe it's already out on consoles, because I thought I just saw it up on my PlayStation Store.
Probably the pre-order.
Yeah. It's free to play, so...
So no pre-order. Maybe the pre-download.
Yeah, maybe. It looks fun, but doesn't look like my cup of tea.
Yeah, I'll say the same.
Alrighty then, for May 21st for the PC, you have Monster Train. Monster Train is I can't even say that fucking word. Basically, it's a strategy roguelike deck building game with a twist set on a train to hell. You see tactical decisions making to defend multiple variants, battlegrounds with realistic competitive multiplayer, and endless replayability. So if you like deck building games with a bit of a twist, this would be the game for you. Not particularly something for me, but hey ho.
All right. Next up we have, okay, and excuse me for the pronunciation of this game. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Kuho Hotai, or maybe it's spelled.
Do you know how to say it?
It spells CHUHOU JOUTAA. So it's Chuho Hotai, something like that. It's basically a bullet hell style game that's very purposely pixelated and simulating those games of old where you only have a panorama screen like this. The screen is not even completely full. It's supposed to be a very, very difficult bullet hell based on the city, on 8 treacherous stages in the capital city of Kozankyo, which I believe is Chinese. The developers are indeed Chinese, so it was developed by Dreamulation Systems, and it's coming out on PC on May 22nd.
Also coming out on May 22nd on PC, PS4, and Xbox One is a game called Man-Eater. It's kind of like Jaws Unleashed, and by that I mean you play as a shark, and you eat people, and you do missions. And you start as a little shark, you get to a big shark, and then you turn into like a crocodile. You basically evolve eventually into like a giant whale. Like, it looks really dumb, but I want to play it a lot. I haven't heard of this game, and now it's supposedly coming.
Oh, I know this game.
I haven't heard of it at all before this point, and I'm like, this looks awesome.
It's supposed to be open world too, by the way.
It's an open world action RPG where you are the shark.
Yeah, it's I'm just gonna stop you right there. It's when it comes to the PC, I think it's an Epic Stores exclusive, so get it on PS4.
Nani?
I think it is.
Okay.
I'll fact check that as well.
All right, because I'm looking at it on Steam, but that might be because.
No, it's on Steam too.
Yeah, but it might not be released on the same day.
The planned date to be announced. So there you go. Yeah.
All right. So Epic Store exclusive, but PC, PS4, Xbox.
Yeah, and you can pre-purchase. It's on May 22nd. There you go. It's an Epic Stores exclusive. God damn, $36. This needs to be the best game ever made. Jeez. Okay. Raven. We can't hear you, Raven.
I've accidentally knocked and muted my mic. Hey. Alright, on May the 22nd for PS4, Xbox, and PC, everyone's all-time favourite, Saints Row the Third Remaster. One of my favourite games. Is a first-person shooter, bit of GTA, lots of humour, fucking great game.
It really is.
You not played it, go play it, because...
I like 2 more, but 3 is good.
You like 2 more, really?
I like 2 more, but 3 is also really good, so it's like potatoes.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think Saints Row 4 would be the best one, but unfortunately they messed up the formula. I guess they tried doing too much. If they just added superpowers, I would have said, yeah, no, this one's the best. But it's not. It doesn't add... first of all, it's the same city, which is already a bad thing. Second of all... It's kind of the same city. It looks more like an expansion than an actual game.
If it was an expansion for 3, I would accept it.
Yeah.
I was completely thrilled when it came to the superpowers.
I would say the way Saints Row 4 starts, really cool.
Yes,
you're the goddamn president. You're just walking around casually. That's really cool.
Any game that I can be the president and then also destroy everything is
what you mean?
great
The choice between cancer or hunger?
Yeah, I choose Big Macs all day. Big Macs.
I just love screaming. When anytime anyone talks to me, I'm like, "That's Mr. President to you."
Yeah,
for America.
I think the best opening is by far Saints Row, in my opinion. The 4th one, but the game itself, it was the only game I didn't finish.
But I'm looking forward to the remaster.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the remaster too, for sure. I'm even gonna play it on the stream for sure. Raven, do you wanna? Wait, do the people that have Saints Row the Third get it for free, or do they have to buy it?
Don't think so. I think you have to buy it.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
I'm a poor Raven.
Yeah, I'm a poor Raven too. Oh well, better luck next time. Next up we have the wonderful 1-on-1 again, but this time coming to Europe. Welcome to 2005, everyone. Holy oh my god, this annoys me so much.
I don't know how is distribution in Europe just so much more difficult?
It might have to do with censorship. But wait, no, it doesn't, because
it's a wonderful 101. It's a Disney. It's a Nintendo game. Eventually, they'll be the same company.
What? Well, it doesn't matter. It's coming to stores on PC, PS4, and Switch. No Xbox, by the way.
I also
digital...
have a feeling that the Saints Row game might be an Epic exclusive, because I can't find it on Steam.
Of course. That's good. That's what we wanted.
Yeah, it looks to be an Epic exclusive for £34.99.
Sorry, I was disinfecting my teddy bear after what you just said.
Yep. I'm a little bit annoyed about that, but yes, go to the Epic Store, everybody. Boycott them.
I might legit buy
we don't
it on
need
Switch.
A cart.
Oh wait, it doesn't come out on Switch. What a wasted opportunity! What a wasted opportunity! God damn it! Oh, it doesn't matter. Okay, that's basically about it, everyone. A bit of a very different podcast. That's gonna be kind of like this nowadays. We started 1 hour before. This is our new schedule, and we're also running for 1 hour and 35 minutes now. We've decided to just completely get rid of the 1 hour rule just to let us speak a bit more, just to let us really go hard on the piece of news that we have.
More freedom.
So excuses if we kind of danced a bit around a couple of themes here and there. That's something we're gonna have to get used to. But we all agree that this is the best way to do this podcast. This is the best format, and as a result, this is how it's gonna be from now on. We would really appreciate if you liked, subscribed, and followed us on our private social medias, twitch.tv/kindajesus, Raven.
Twitch.tv/Mr. Raven00.
Oz.
Twitch.tv/ dang it, Twitch.tv
Okay, can I make a suggestion? You should change your Twitch name to something simpler.
Perfectly simple. I just can't say it.
Oz the what?
Ozda Okai. It's literally just the same name.
Let me attempt to write it, okay? Without looking at anything, alright?
Okay.
Tell me if it's right. Oz de Wokai?
Okai.
De Okai?
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Oh, I actually got it.
No?
Nice.
Where are you?
No,
On the actual YouTube.
no, you got the.
No, because on YouTube I have it's a different name on YouTube.
Yeah, but but I wrote it on the YouTube thing. Okay, but is it this one? Okay, so there you go. I'll write it here. Oz de Hokai. That's how I wrote it.
Yeah, there you go.
No.
Well, there's an H there, but it's fine.
Okay,
Close enough. That will get you there.
that will probably.
Are
get
you sure about that?
Are you sure about that?
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Yeah, well, there you go. Follow us on our social medias, and thank you so much for watching. Really pleasant comment section with some really interesting debates. And that's what we kind of like to see over here on Indiehub. Have a good day, and see you boys next week.
I love you.